Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Owen and welcome back to Blurb. Guys, it has been a rather busy week, I would probably say. I've finally got my S10 back up and running again. Thank you to WeFix, as they call themselves, who are owned by Samsung, who's repaired my phone under warranty. I've had to pay for them to come out, so technically the payment wasn't done under warranty, but the phone is back and it's still warranted, and I am very happy with the repair. So now this is going to be my first video back with this phone without breaking it, hopefully. So this video, guys, is basically the top 5 things I like about the MK5 Astra H. As you guys can already see, the weather isn't brilliant, and this Astra has now passed its MOT whilst mine isn't there. Mine is getting its cam belt doing to it. This one's had a service, it's had its engine flush, it's also had a new handbrake cable because with the cold weather we've had recently, the handbrake cable decided not to work. Now, first of all, I apologise for the mess of this car. This car has been on and off used. I haven't cleaned it. I decided to clean my Astra before it had work getting done to it. I have not cleaned this car as of yet, but I will do. It is in progress and it will be cleaned in the next couple of weeks, I'd say. So I will start off with the things I like about this car. By first of all saying how much I like the styling of this car. Now I've got to open this window because I've only got one key for this car, and a common thing for these is to lock with the key in the ignition. So first of all, the thing I've got to mention that I like about the car is indeed the styling. I actually prefer the styling of this car in comparison to my own Astra. When these first came out, it was a shape that I actually adored. I quite liked it. And it stood the test of time. I mean, this one, as you can see in here, it's a 55 plate and it looks pretty spot on. I mean, it's right next to a brand new Corsa. It's not mine, it's my neighbour's Corsa, but if you look at the two, it's still quite a contemporary shape. Now, the wheels are not original, obviously, but in terms of the shape, I quite like the shape. It's quite a nice shape. In fact, somebody mentioned to me that the shape of these at the time looked like a Renault Megane with the big arse on the back. The second thing I like about this car has to be the boot size, actually. Now, this being a 3-door, it's a bit like the GTCs. The boot size is actually pretty good. You've got quite a decent sized boot in there. I mean, at the moment I've got my jack, my tools and stuff in there. My Astra has got actually the tools in the back of that. I would probably say it's a very similar sized boot. And what I like about this, and I know it's just the age of the car and the hydraulic bits, but you don't even have to slam this shut. I've got one finger on here, let go, and it just closes itself. So it's a decent sized boot on a car that's actually pretty sporty like, and I've always liked this shape, and to have a decent sized boot on a car that looks this good is actually pretty darn good. So the next thing I like about this car has to be the interior. Now, specifically on this car, I have seen interiors in worse condition in the newer ones of these. So like an 06 model or a 57 plate, I've seen interiors look much, much worse. I mean, the handle and the seats work. You know, there's cars out there that don't have that and they don't work. And the back seats, there's no rips, no tears, no nothing. The only thing about these Vauxhalls with their interior is they have a very common tendency for the leathers on the handbrake gaiter and the gear stick gaiter to crumble away. Other than that though, I think the interior has held up pretty darn well. I've always liked these on the doors as well. It's, I mean, this is an SXI model. It's just started to snow again. But I think the interior on this looks pretty good for its age. And in my opinion, better than some new cars. I mean, I've always known these seats to be rock solid, but sitting in them, they're quite soft. So, sitting in this car now, everything's quite contemporary, everything's quite nice to look at, everything's very easy to set. It's what a car should be. It shouldn't be too difficult to use where you would need a degree in electronics to really use. But I like this car. It's simple, it's got a very small display on here. I mean, I know I've got a double din in here, that's aftermarket, let's not worry about that. But this display tells you all you need, what radio station's on, what you're playing. You've even got the level of volume that'll tell you on there. Like, I know the Corsa D's, like my mum's, you turn up the dial, it doesn't even tell you on the display what are you turning it up to. So this is quite a nice car, and I like it because of how simple it is. I think this is now the third thing I like about this car, but the amount of viewing space in this car is amazing, especially at the front. The only thing I will knock, which will be on a later video, is the back pillar, but in terms of the space, I know you've got thick pillars there, but one thing I like about this, especially when you're on the motorway, you can just keep turning and looking out the window to what's behind you. It's very obviously a big slab of glass, and I mentioned it in my courses video, there's just so much space to look at, and that has to be the third thing I like about the Astra H's. Now, I know the rest of this control panel here is now piano black, and with this being an 05 Astra, this never used to be piano black. It used to be a silvery colour, a bit like this, that sort of silver. It was all that around here. So none of this part here is original. All this is piano black, and then you've got this sort of brush sort of thing here. But one thing I must say is a refreshing change to sit in this car is actually the black roof lining of these cars. Now, every single Vauxhall that I've had, whether it be the Zafira, the Astra, the Vectra, or even any other car that I've sat in, they've all got cream roof lines, including my dad's Insignia as an example. But this having a black roof line is a refreshing change, and a clean change at that, and it's nice and soft still, to the cream that you usually get, including the plastics on the the sun visors and all this bit here and the buttons. It's just a refreshing change to the cream, and that is another thing that I like about the car. And finally, guys, the fifth thing that I like about the Mark V Astra has to be the speakers. I think the speakers, just like in the Vectra, are cracking speakers in these. You know, I know my Astra's got some decent set of speakers, but I don't think they're as good as the speakers you used to get in the older Vauxhalls. Like in the old Calibras as an example, or a Corsa B, the speakers in them, considering their age, are actually pretty decent. Obviously by now they're not as good because they would have aged, but this being a 55 plate Astra, if you put a private reg on this car, you'd never know what year this car was, if it was a 2010 or 2009. You know, usually you can tell if it's a facelift or a pre-facelift by the grille or the colour of the rear lights. You know, like that one over there, for example. You know, that's a newer Astra, obviously, because if you look at the, where's my finger here? If you look at the lights, the indicators are usually like a fogged mist on the older ones. So, especially with an 04 model anyways, but for this car, it's pretty good. And I love the steering wheel, is another thing with the interior as well. Nice and sporty. It steers really well. It's nice and sharp. The steering's nice and light as well. As a car goes, this is one really good car. Bonus clip for you guys as well is I forgot that there was another good thing about this car, and that is getting into the back. Let's have a seat. Now, I'm quite a tall person, and sitting in this car is actually not too bad. I mean, yeah, okay, headroom might be an issue, but it's more comfortable than fuming. I would probably, yeah, I'd find this acceptable considering the circumstances of this car with a sloping roofline. It's actually pretty comfortable. The seats are nice and comfy. It wouldn't be so bad in the back, well, it wouldn't be so bad on a long journey, really. It's pretty all right back here. So yeah, bonus plus for you guys. Now, before I end this video, I also want to mention how good of a car this is. You know, this being a 55 plate Astra, we paid $1,000 for this car, which had decent brakes, everything worked, the horn works, you know, there's no warning lights on the dash. I mean, put it this way, in some old cars, not even the temperature sensor works, but on this one, it does. And that has got to be something to really say about the car. It's been well looked after. If it's 15 years old, this car, and yes, it's only had 3 service stamps. There's a bulb in here that doesn't work clearly because you can't, there's nothing in there, you can't even see it. The fans may not work properly, but hey, it's down to age with the car. You know, I have to say this has to be a really well looked after car. It's a 1.4 non-turbo, obviously, but everything is working, everything feels good, and nothing is broken anymore. I mean, we've spent, since we've had this car, the best part of 500 quid on this car. So overall, a working car that passed its MOT with no problems, really. 1,500 quid. Anyways, guys, I want to say thank you to you guys for watching. I will be making another video of the things I dislike about this Astra, and I want to make these videos before this Astra goes back, because I think it's necessary, really, because I've always loved the Mark 5 Astra ever since when my mum and dad bought their cars new, when they bought the Corsa D, or they bought the Insignia brand new from the factory. They had one of these Astras in there in black. It was an SRI, but it looked so good. I loved it, and I couldn't stay away from it. I said to my mum, I said, one day I want to own one of those cars. Now, yes, I don't really own this car. This is Sarah's car, but I'm the only person who's legally able to drive this car, so hence why I'm fixing it and I'm doing whatever it needs to be done to it. But I tell you what, if I was to perhaps sell my Astra for one of these, I probably would, but I do like the idea of a new car, and that is on the horizon. I am saving up for a new car, but I will mention that in my next update video, which will be out very soon as well. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully the video quality is back to normal now, and the audio quality is also just as good. So thank you very much for watching. If you do like this video, then why not leave it a like and subscribe to the channel. The subscribers, they mean a lot to me. I check it on a regular basis, and I love it when it goes up. I mean, I have seen the numbers go down recently, which is fine. You know, that's fine by me. If you don't like my content, then that's fine. I apologise if it's not as good as what you thought it was going to be. But given the lockdown, I mean, I would do so much more if there wasn't a lockdown on right now. But I've had to get all these cars repaired and roadworthy. You know, I had a sad update about the Corsa yesterday, which will be in my update video, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, guys, until next time, I shall see you guys in the next one. Take care and stay safe.